Coming up in this video, we are going to dive deep into a verse that often confuses people. We will explore what Jesus really meant when he said Raca, why it matters more than you think, and how the Old Testament and first century Jewish culture can illuminate this striking warning. We will uncover the power of words, the seriousness of contempt, and the spiritual dangers that Jesus was warning about. Let's jump right in. Number 1, understanding Raca. When Jesus speaks in Matthew chapter 5 and verses 21 through 22, he says something that can sound strange at first. He says, "Everyone who is angry with his brother will be liable to judgment. Whoever says to his brother, 'Ratza,' will be answerable to the council, and whoever says, 'You fool,' will be liable to hell of fire." The word Raca is an Aramaic insult, not a Greek word, which makes sense because Jesus and the people he spoke to primarily spoke Aramaic. Scholars agree that Raca means something like empty one, worthless, or foolish. But it is more than calling someone stupid. It is a contemptuous insult, almost like calling someone a morally empty scoundrel. Imagine hearing that in a small village where everyone's reputation mattered. That is how strong this word was. It was a word that cut deep into a person's honor and dignity. And what Jesus is saying is not about casual words or light teasing. He is speaking about the heart behind the words, the contempt and anger that fuels them. Number 2, first century Jewish context. To truly understand the weight of Raca, we need to step into the shoes of a first century Jew. Jewish society at the time was rooted in an honor and shame culture. Words were not just words. They were public declarations of a person's value and moral character. To call someone Raca publicly was to attack their honor, to humiliate them in front of their peers and potentially provoke serious conflict. Jesus is warning that contempt is dangerous, that anger that spills into insulting words is already a form of moral wrongdoing. In a society like this, an insult was a big deal, far bigger than it might seem to us today. Number 3, Old Testament background. Jesus is building on the command given in Exodus chapter 20, verse 13. "You shall not murder." On the surface, it seems simple. But the Hebrew mindset already understood that sin begins in the heart. Genesis chapter 4 verses 6 through 7 show us how Cain's anger and resentment toward Abel led to murder. The seeds of sin start with emotions, with resentment and contempt, long before they erupt into violence. Proverbs chapter 10 verse 18 also tells us, "Whoever hides hatred has lying lips, and whoever utters slander is a fool." Speech is a mirror of the heart. Jesus is deepening the law to show that murder begins with the attitude of the heart, with contempt and scorn even if no one has been physically harmed. Number 4, what Jesus means when he says you are in danger of hellfire. The Greek word used here is Gehenna, which literally refers to the Valley of Hinnom, a valley outside Jerusalem where garbage was burned, and historically where some criminals were executed. Figuratively, it refers to divine judgment and destruction. When Jesus says that whoever says Raca is in danger of hellfire, he is making a profound point. He is not just warning about reckless speech, he is warning that contempt, anger, and scorn reveal a heart at odds with God. Words are not harmless. They reflect what is inside, and if the heart is hardened by anger and disdain, it can separate a person from God. This is a sobering truth. The power of words is real, and they can signal deep spiritual danger. Number 5, what Raca does not mean. Some might think Jesus is exaggerating or that he is condemning every casual insult. That is not the case. He is not saying that a one-time careless remark damns someone eternally. Rather, he is addressing patterns of contempt, persistent anger, and belittling others. He is emphasizing the seriousness of inner attitudes that manifest as harmful words. Saying Raca once in jest is very different from harboring ongoing disdain for someone. The principle is that the heart must be checked, and contempt must be dealt with before it grows into something destructive. Number 6, real-life example. Imagine a small village in first century Judea. A man publicly calls another man Raca during a dispute about land or reputation. That word alone could humiliate the other person, damage relationships, and spark conflict. Jesus is teaching that this kind of speech is spiritually dangerous. It is not merely socially harmful. It is morally significant because It reflects a heart that is out of alignment with God. The lesson is timeless. In our modern world, we may not use Aramaic insults, but words of contempt, scorn, and derision still carry the same weight. Number 7, the heart of the matter. Jesus is showing that true righteousness is not just about external compliance with the law, it is about the heart. He says, "Out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speaks," as found in Matthew chapter 12, verse 34. Words are not isolated acts. They reveal what is inside us. Anger, contempt, and scorn are not minor offenses. They are indicators that something is wrong deep within, and God sees this. The challenge is to examine our own hearts to make sure that we are not harboring hidden contempt for others, and to speak in ways that honor rather than tear down. So, you see, Jesus' warning about Raca is both serious and practical. It is not just about avoiding a word, it is about cultivating a heart that honors God and others. Understanding the Aramaic context, the first century culture, and the Old Testament background helps us see why words matter. Contempt is dangerous because it comes from the heart and affects both our relationships and our spiritual well-being. This teaching invites us to reflect on how we speak, how we think, and how we treat others, reminding us that righteousness is more than outward behavior. It begins in the heart and is expressed through our words. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.